NFL draft is in 10 days, and the San Francisco 49ers are getting ready to prepare for the NFL draft. I can't wait to see how this all pans out. Day one, we kind of know where they need to go. The question is, how will they attack the draft on day two? That's going to be the real question. Smash that like button, get your popcorn ready, get your questions ready, and let's get to some 49ers draft talk right here on the Wayne Breezy Show. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Wayne Breezy. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show, brought to you by our guys over at Residency. So make sure you guys go to www.residency.com. Use the promo code SFBreezy. That's right, SF Breezy, and you can save money on your total purchase. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching, all right? Become a subscriber. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. And if you want to support the channel, which you can, you don't have to, you can become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, man. Everybody wants to become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, right? All right, man, let's go ahead and talk what's going on. Shout out to all the Breezy Bunch members out there in the building early. I see Don't Bother Me. Felicia's in the building. Good morning. Good morning. I see my man Manny in the building as well. Look, the San Francisco 49ers, nothing much necessarily going on because it's draft talk time, right? It's really time to start putting, shout out to 49ers _ throwback, all the work, all the homework, all the scouting, all that stuff is about to come to fruition. You got a bunch of meetings. The 49ers still have a lot of top 30 visits that they are allowed to have. I think so far they've had, let's see, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 that have been officially reported, but there's probably more that have been reported as well. So these top 30 visits are going to continue to happen. They're also having these virtual meetings and virtual interviews, virtual conversations with players. And I think next Monday, we'll focus on day 3, guys. But today I want to focus on some day 2 targets because we already know that the San Francisco 49ers in round 1 are probably going to go 1 to 3 ways, right? 1 to 3 ways. And we'll break down some key scenarios today and kind of see, well, if they go this way, then how will they attack the draft on day 2? And if they go this way, how will they address the draft on day 2? So day 2 is important. Why? Because the 49ers have 3 picks on day 2. So day 2, rounds 3, the 49ers right now have 3 picks. And with the total of 11 picks, I believe they're probably going to stand pat. Potentially, they might look to trade down. We've talked about trading down. And don't forget to check out my latest mock draft, 49ers mock draft episode. You will not be disappointed if you guys like the trenches. I promise you. So check out the latest 49ers mock draft episode 15. And I got one more, the finale, 16, next Monday, and final mock draft Monday. Wow, 16 mock drafts I was able to do in this mock draft season. I can't believe I was able to do that. That's kind of crazy, you know. But again, it's going to be a whirlwind. I really don't think we're going to get any surprises from the San Francisco 49ers. And when I say that, I mean like us drafting a different position. Like I really believe that the Niners will go edge, interior defensive tackle, possibly offensive line. I don't think we'll get the surprise of them going linebacker unless it's an off-ball linebacker like maybe Jalen Walker. I get why he makes sense. A lot of people like Jalen Walker. They're high on Jalen Walker out of the University of Georgia, and it's because of his ability to be able to rush off the edge. So if the Niners feel like they're getting a 2-for-1er, that's like the Niners style, right? They like to get those versatile players out there. Good morning, Peachy, as well to you. Thank you so much for being here on today's live show. All right, I see Red and Gold Empire in the building. Andy Mace says Vikings don't have many picks. I think they so late to ATP they would take anything they can get. Try to trade with the Vikings. Hey, again, We have 11. The Vikings don't have many, like you said. There's a possibility the Vikings can be looking for more. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the Niners trade back up into a first round. They've done that before. We went last episode on Friday. We went through the draft history, kind of like trying to figure out, is there a pattern for the 49ers as they draft and things like that. You know what I'm saying? We did. And really there's no pattern. But maybe in a couple of years, going back to some of the years, I think the Niners may try to follow that 2020 pattern, that 2020 pattern, like, where they drafted defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, and then they moved up from the Minnesota. They moved up with trading with Minnesota. They from 31 to 25, and they got Brandon Ayuk. They got their wide receiver. You know what I mean? Parth Patel over on X, Twitter says, Wayne, what's your thoughts on how the Niners go round one? All right, cool. I like this. And I feel like every time I do a draft show, we've been kind of talking round one. So this is an excellent question. 1,000%. I'm just trying to make it as minimal as possible, right? So I can see my face. Let me just come down on the camera a little bit. All right, here we go. So, round one, he says I have a feeling they go edge, defensive tackle, and maybe take O-line in the second. My dream scenario would be trading up for Mason Graham and getting Donovan Jackson. If we don't trade up, I would be content with Mike Green or Walter Nolan, along with Donovan Jackson. I also love your mock drafts, by the way. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that, man. And thank you for the comment. And come on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, man. If you got YouTube, man, it'll be cool to subscribers. Jax Knox is in the building. Jax, what's going on? What's up, faithful? What's up to you? I see the questions coming in, so I'll make sure I'll star some of these questions and get to them as we go throughout the show. I hope you guys got about 40, 50 minutes to rock out with me. But look, that's a great question. So, Parth, round one, I think the Niners need to go best interior defensive tackle on the board. The draft is loaded with defensive tackles, but the defensive tackles that fit the mold of what the Niners are looking for, which are, I think they go with that. I want to say that twitchy defensive tackle, right? The one that can rush the passer and stop the run. And then they probably will look to double up at some point because this draft is deep. So when I think about defensive tackles, obviously, and my big board, it's Mason Graham, right? He's my number one, and then my number two was Walter Nolan, which I have 20 on my ranking on my big board. So Graham at 4, Nolan at 20, Kenneth Grant at 22, Darius Alexander 26, and then Derek Harmon. So those are my top 5, right? And all of those guys kind of play the same way. Now they have different builds, different, like, some guys are taller, some guys are heavier, but I feel like they can do that balance. They're balanced up front. I think the most versatile, even over Mason Graham, and Mason Graham's my number one, I think Walter Nolan's the most versatile. Now, the new rankings are starting to come out, some of these mock draft simulators, and you're starting to see guys kind of like shift all over. Like the new PFF rankings came out. Now Walter Nolan is actually top 10. Isn't that crazy? So is he a reach now as the draft is approaching to draft him at 11, since he's a top 10 guy? They got him kind of like ranked 8th. And so I've always been the one to say Walter Nolan's the guy. I don't feel like we're going to get a guy like Mason Graham. But round one, and that's how round two will be formulated. So that's why I think this is an excellent question, because let's do the scenario. And let's talk about some scenarios, right? Scenario one, the 49ers go defensive tackle. Scenario one, defensive tackle in round one. That would be beautiful, right? That would be beautiful. Round one, they get the guy, biggest need on the defensive front, biggest need on the defensive tackle. Because when you look at the defensive tackles, it's Jordan Elliott, okay? And you're rotating guys, right? Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, Evan Anderson, Kalia Davis. Those are your defensive tackles. And I'm not saying that they're not great, they're not ready to start, but they didn't start last year. They weren't starters last year. They could be starters this year. But I'm looking for a guy that's going to be a premier defensive tackle. Losing Javon Hargrave might have been very detrimental to why the Niners couldn't really plug the middle, couldn't really stop the run. You didn't have a guy up front commanding double teams, okay? So now you're looking at getting a guy that commands double teams, okay? That's what you're looking for. I'm with it. Now, Walter Nolan comes with some immaturity type of things. And you know what? Let's take a look at Walter Nolan. Let me see if I can find him in The Beast. Let me go check out The Beast by Dan Bueller, and let me see what he had to say about Walter Nolan. So bear with me. And you know what? I don't mind sharing it with you. Now, he has Walter Nolan as his fourth defensive tackle. It's Mason Graham, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Tylee Williams. Those are his top five. He has Nolan again as his fourth, which is fine. I really think, and look, he's one. Apparently, this is the Bible that we're using or whatever like that. I mean, hey, to me, it's each their own. I like what I like, though. I like who I like. I love Walter Nolan. If I'm not getting Mason Graham, I want it to be Walter Nolan, in my opinion. But his strengths: explosive first step with equally explosive hands. What does that mean? That means he has his first step off the ball. When the ball is hiked, boom, he's hitting you, right? That's what I like. That's what I love about him. And his hands are very explosive, meaning he has those. Who had some of the best defensive hands we've known? What's the guy from the Rams? He retired. Oh my gosh. Probably one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time, and I can't think of his name. But remember, he was training with the knives. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, explosive hands. Hands are crazy. Like that is detrimental, because how are you shedding these guys that are coming in and trying to block and take you down, take you out off the play? That's it. That's important. Aaron Donald, right. And I'm not comparing him to Aaron Donald, but I'm talking about his hand work and his hands being explosive. Initial movements to cross face, shoots gaps, lives in the gaps. You need defensive tackles that if they get blocked, they're able to shoot the gap and fill in that space. I can't talk about how much we want our linebackers to play downhill to make the tackles. We might get better versions. Obviously, you get a better version of Fred Warner if you got defensive tackles up front shooting these gaps and living in the gaps, commanding these doubles, taking these big old offensive linemen and not getting pushed back. That's the key. That's the key. All right, that's the key. His get off is very quick, and that's what Chris Kocurek likes. So explosive first step, get off. Those are the things that Chris Kocurek loves. Get off, explosive first step. And I'm not saying that the top three guys don't have it, but this is what I love about the kid, right? Some of the things that I love about the kid. All right. Now, does he have his weaknesses? Every player in this draft is going to have weaknesses. Every player. They talk about his immaturity. They talk about certain things. Yeah. I mean, does it downgrade him a little bit? I don't know. In my opinion, he has him ranked number 31. So he still has him as a first rounder, depending. It will be funny if Walter Nolan ends up with just a team that loves defensive linemen, and then we'll sit back and be like, dang, I can't believe we passed up on a defensive interior guy like Walter Nolan, right? Derek Harmon is another guy that I like as well, so I don't want people to think I don't like Derek Harmon. Love the guy, but for me, I like the guy that I know is the more versatile. I'm all about versatility. Thank you, it's Aaron Donald. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'm all about versatility up front. And so when you think about versatility, it's kind of like, okay, he can play all five, or he can play all in five places on that defensive front, right? Or he could play outside the tackle. He could play inside, A gap, B gap. Like, where do you want him to line up? Three technique is what we're looking for. He can play that too. So excellent in run defense, excellent as a pass rusher. So I think if the Niners go first round defensive tackle, then we can kind of start to shape rounds 2 and 3, right? That's when you can kind of start shaping that. So I think that's a good question. And Andy, I'm with you, man. He does remind me of Jalen Carter. Not as fast, I don't think, but as dangerous. but it's dangerous. All right, but it's dangerous. Jax with the question. Shout out to Jax. She's a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, and if you're a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, you have priority over of getting your questions answered, and you know that's just part of being one of the perks. So become a member. All right, what is your opinion on people not wanting to draft a player because of their school name or a number? I think I know where this is going. I just wanted the opinion of someone else. Yeah, so listen, there are superstitions all across, all over, like everywhere. Like there are superstitions. Um, Today marks 10 days to the NFL draft. It does. And I decided to use a picture of a former sixth round draft pick of the San Francisco 49ers back in 2010, number 10, Kyle Williams. Now, Kyle Williams is always going to be known for blowing the NFC Championship game. So, Jax, when we talk about number 10 being cursed, it just seems like whoever wears that number can't close the deal. They can't close it. And I'll go through a couple of number 10s that had opportunities to close the deal. Kyle Williams. All right, now, mind you, in that NFC Championship game against the New York Giants, before the score was tied up, the Niners were winning. He muffs a punt, and the Giants are able to score, okay, because they are able to get that turnover on special teams. And then when it was a tied game, 17-17, he literally fumbles. He gets the ball stripped out of his hands. So when you see the faithful, mainly the faithful, talk about number 10, they're really alluding to, now we're going to talk about the name of the player, Kyle Williams. All right. So now it's like, yo, if he wore a number 10, can't rock with him. Now his name just happens to be Kyle Williams. And there's a Kyle Williams that I think is creeping up the draft board from Washington State. And he's a totally different type of wide receiver. And number one, he's not going to play special teams. I can tell you that right now. He's that good to where he's probably going to make the roster as a wherever you want to line him up, coach. Wide receiver, great guy, can get open, great footwork, can create separation, just dangerous out there. So there's the name Kyle Williams. So that's why I like this question, because you're like, well, if he's that good of a player, why would we pass up on him if his name is Kyle Williams? And I think it just comes to like just faithful trauma, post-traumatic, trauma, all that kind of stuff. Like they just stay away from Kyle Williams, stay away from number 10. And Kyle Williams couldn't get it done in the number 10. Remember Jimmy Garoppolo, ended up, unfortunately, he got injured, got to the Super Bowl, couldn't get it done, couldn't seal the deal, and then just was never right after that. Number 10, Ronnie Bell, draft pick, 7th round draft pick of the 49ers back in 2023. Was rookie year, caught 3 touchdowns, couldn't catch the ball to save his life in 2024, got released. Number 10. We can go deeper. You go back to Bruce Ellington. Can't even tell you what he did here. It's just a bad number. So yeah, it's all superstitious. That's what it is. Just to answer your question, Jax. But thank you for the question. It's all superstitious. Like, you know what I mean? It's funny because it's like, dang, like what we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We gonna pass up on this dynamic wide receiver? Christy Marie's in the building. What's going on, Christy? Christy, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, like it can get a little rough, but let's do a couple of scenarios. So I like that. Walter Nolan. All right, you guys give me another player. So round 1, I'm going to write down these, and then I'm going to give you my round 2 pick. So Walter Nolan, give me another first round pick for the 49ers. Somebody put it inside the live chat. Give me your first round pick. We've already got Walter Nolan. All right. So give me another player you think the 49ers would draft in the first round. All right. And then I'll see how that pans out. I'm putting together my scenarios for round 2. So day 2. All right. Jalen Walker from Uncle Salty. I like this. I see you, DJ, too. I got you, bro. I got you. So Jalen Walker. And again, Um, I'm gonna write down these guys. Armand Membu. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what I love about these guys. We got Jihad Campbell. Ooh, you guys been watching my shows. I could tell. Mike Green. Yes. 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 Williams, defensive end. Michael Williams. Okay. 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 Ooh, y'all being spicy. Okay. I like Big Michael Williams, 6'5" guy out there. All right, and we're just talking about if the Niners stay at number 11. I do see a trade scenario in there, and I get it. Like, I totally get it. All right, so we've done Walter Nolan. So Jalen Walker, let me just tell you a couple of things I like about these guys. Jalen Walker, again, as far as just being a linebacker, I think that's where he struggles. I don't think that's his strength. I think he would serve better purpose as an edge rusher. So if he is drafted at 11, okay, cool, but make him a solidified edge rusher. He has the athleticism out there on the edge. Ran a 4.51 in the 40, so the speed is there. He's a 240, 240 plus, almost 250-pound edge rusher. I like it. I like him a lot. Now, the production isn't as great as some of the other guys out there that you guys have in production, but you know what I'm saying? I just really feel like Jalen Walker makes sense. And we talked about versatility. It's another versatile guy. Man, I'm going to put V next to the guys that I feel like are versatile. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's key for the Niners. All right, yeah, I draft you here, but can you play here? I don't know why the Niners do that, but that's what they like. That's what they do. That's been the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch regime. I'm writing down Malachi Starks because I see the name out there as well as the safety. Now, I will tell you, if I'm going to go safety in round one, it's Nicky Manwari from whatever. But I'll talk about these guys. All right, Armand Membu. Armand Membu. Oh my gosh. What do you not like about probably one of the most athletic 340-pound offensive linemen you've ever seen in your life? Now, I was reading about him, and he's a tackle, okay? They're trying to say that he's going to be a guard in the NFL level, and he's literally proving everybody wrong. And we'll see what happens with whichever team draft him. Now, I have him going to the Jets. I'm not going to lie. I have him being actually probably the first tackle off the board. Now, my only concern with Membu and for the 49ers, as much as I love him, and I said he's my number one tackle, do the Niners draft, they've done this before, Mike McGlinchey, former first-round draft pick. Do we need a tackle to draft in the first round? That's why we have Colton McKivitz. Is Membu better than Colton McKivitz? I think coming out of college, Membu is better than Colton McKivitz, but coming into the pros could be a different ballgame, could be a different monster from Membu. And I'm not saying that he's not going to be good, but do the Niners really need to draft an offensive tackle in round one? And I think that is why I'm kind of drifting away from the tackles. There's nothing wrong with if they go tackle. If they do go tackle, it needs to be Membu, Campbell, Banks. Them the three guys. Boom, 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 boom. Membu, Campbell, Banks. And I'll put them in order for you. Banks, Campbell, Membu. And remember, Membu's my number one tackle, but Banks, left side, versatility, kick in and play guard. Membu, right side, versatility. And then Campbell, again, strong left tackle, very athletic. But I really like, those are my top three tackles in this draft. All right. So I just don't see the Niners going to, again, I think he gets picked up by the Jets. Jihad Campbell. I was listening to his coach talk about him the other day, about how much he's grown, how he came in as an edge rusher. He was buried in the depth chart with Will Anderson, last year Tyrion Arnold. We talk about Alabama kid, and it was just like, he was like, yo, I could play linebacker, and they put him at linebacker, and then the quick growth of the young kid. Now, if I had to compare Jalen Walker and Jihad Campbell as a linebacker, Campbell wins. Campbell is the linebacker. The Niners need a linebacker. It's Dre Greenlaw spot to be taken. And I think Campbell will come in and give D. Winters and give those guys Curtis Robinson, whoever is going to play the weak side, lined up next to Fred Warner. Whoever's going to play that, I think he'll come and give him a run for his money. I think what I love about Campbell, better than Walker, is his ability to cover. His ability, and he's a decent pass rusher, but he's still learning how to be the edge out there, coming off ball. Whereas Jalen Walker has the advantage of playing edge in the off ball. Both guys can blitz. Both guys can get home. Like Campbell, I just question mark about that. Like, do the Niners go linebacker in round one? They've never done that before. That could be that surprise though. Ooh, like the Niners could literally go linebacker in round one. Oh, shoot. I would love it. If they do go linebacker, it better be Walker or Campbell. I'm just saying, in round one. That's a scenario, though. And that really changes up a lot how rounds 2 and 3 go. I'm going to try to draw these. Mike Green, again, Abdul Carter, Mike Green for me. Mike Green just has the red flags. Let's just keep it a buck. If Mike Green didn't have the red flags, everybody would be salivating over Mike Green. Pause. But we already know the red flags are what's keeping him, you know what I'm saying, from being just that top guy. I don't care where people are ranking him. None of that matters. I care about production. And I that matters for every player. Production. And you could say, oh, Mike Green played at Marshall. The competition wasn't. I don't care. He took advantage of it. It ain't his fault. The conference was weak. He dominated. Then he went and dominated at the Senior Bowl where the competition wasn't weak. So somebody make that make sense to me. And I don't care if that was for a week. He dominated. He dominated. So if he dominated against tackles that we like in this draft, the Josh Connerlys, like some of those guys, the Anthony Beltons, the Ozzie Trapios. We want the Niners. Well, Mike Green dominated every last one of them guys. The only one he didn't dominate was Armand Membu, because Membu was sick and didn't participate in the Senior Bowl. So I'm just saying, Mike Green's production is through the roof. He led the nation in sacks for a reason. I think he ran a 4.5 in his 40 at his pro day. I think that kid coming off the edge is going to be a problem. The question is he 3-4? Can he play in a 4-3? I mean, what happened to the Niners drafting the D Ford guy? Like, why not have the complimentary edge rusher? They tried, and here's, now look, when Robert Saleh was here, they went and traded for D Ford. Robert Saleh wasn't here. The Niners in free agency signed Leonard Floyd. Both play that speedier edge guy off the edge, kind of like 3-4 outside linebackers, lighter, quicker, faster, can get to the passer. I don't know if Leonard Floyd struggled much, maybe in setting the edge as far as stopping the run, but I felt like he still was able to get to the passer. So I like Mike Green. Mykel Williams, to me, is the prototypical 49ers defensive end. Like if you're looking for the model defensive end, builds 6'5", 260 plus, can set the edge really well in the run game, that's your Mykel Williams. But again, edge rusher. So far in the list that you guys created, we got 1 defensive tackle, 2 linebackers, an offensive tackle, and 2 edge rushers. We also put a safety in there, Malachi Starks. I don't think the Niners need a safety, but Malachi Starks would be a hell of a nickel back. So the Niners could go that route. And I also see Jahdae Barron's name out here in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Again, shout out to the Breezy Bunch crew members out there, and I appreciate you. Leslie says, red flags don't matter until they do. Think Foster. Yeah, like, I know. You know? I know. I'm high on Mike Green. I've been preaching this young fella since the Senior Bowl because I watched him literally dominate. We're talking dominate. Like, this kid stopped practicing and left because he didn't have to do anymore. He didn't even make it to the game. So I agree. Red flags don't matter until they do. And my thing is, why can't people change? Why can't we allow people to change? Why can't we give people an opportunity to change? I get this as a draft. There's players we draft without red flags that don't even make the roster. There's players we trade up for, just can't cut it. Like I don't get it. He's being interviewed by the Niners. They're meeting with him. I don't understand what's the problem with that. You know what I mean? Mosquito Killer, what's going on, baby? Shout out to you, man, and all the moderators in the chat. We got the moderators. This is my boy, Kali. He says, Wayne, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of drafting Mike Green. His talent is top 10 worthy. How is Green versus the run? He is dynamic versus the run. Now, for me watching on film, I don't see any issues. Like, I don't see him getting beat or chipped by these tight ends out there and taking it. He sets the edge well. Now, statistically, he's top. So, if statistically he's a top guy against the run, and I'll get it out for you, in pause. If his run stop percentage is 9.4%, which is relatively high for an edge rusher, and his run defensive grade is a 90.2. Statistically, he's dynamic against the run. 348 run snaps. That's the context. No one's talking about, well, how many if those numbers were where he played only 10 run snaps, then 348 out of his 719. So Kylie, you tell me how he is against the run. Now on film, where do you see him really getting taken out from setting edge? He's literally a guy that I feel like can come in and just be dynamic. He can get to the passer. He really gives me Von Miller vibes. Von Miller's good against the run, and he's amazing at getting to the passer. He has those moves. Now, he needs to develop more pass rushing techniques and moves, but speed to power ratio is the best. So we can go Mike Green in round one. Look, I'm going to narrow this list down. So if the Niners go Nolan, Green, let's say they don't go linebacker in round one. There's several linebackers they could probably get. But let's just say they don't go linebacker. And there's a possibility like Campbell could fall to round two because teams, I have them going to the Colts, but there might be teams that, and you could check out my all 32 team mock draft. I did a 3-round mock draft right here on the channel. I haven't gone to the Colts, but there's a possibility that the Colts don't go linebacker. They go edge. And so now you might see a Jai Campbell fall to round two right in the lap to the San Francisco 49ers at pick 43. Speaking of round two, let's get into it. And before we do that, guys, make sure you smash the like button, all right? Because it is inevitable for you guys to hit that button. I need you to hit that button. You already know it helps the algorithm. This is your first time watching. Please subscribe to the channel. And I believe there's a link in here. Shout out to Peachy. If you want to become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, just click on the link. You know what I mean? Tanisha, what's going on, gal? Wagwan. Oh, this chat is popping today. Oh, I like this. You know what I mean? I like this. Jack says a few players fall into the second round. You know what, Jax? It's the game. The question is, though, Jax, players might be falling, but are they on the Niners' big board? You know what I mean? Are they on the Niners' big board? I got a question. I got a few questions. Let me answer some questions before we get into some of these draft day 2 targets. I want to make sure I said that right. I got Jack's question already. Manny says, edge from Ohio State, JT. I feel like I butcher his name up every freaking single time. Like, what do I think about him? I think this kid is phenomenal. And that's why if you, and going back to the scenarios, we'll break it down. If you go Walter Nolan or defensive tackle first, let's say you go Nolan, Harmon, let's say those or Kenneth Grant. I don't see the Niners going Kenneth Grant. But let's just say those are JTT. That's what I could call them. That's fine. JTT. Harmon, Nolan, Grant, and any one of those big defensive interior guys. I also throw Alexander in there, but I know a lot of people don't like Alexander. But I'm thinking at pick 11. I mean, Alexander, you would trade back for him. But I wouldn't mind if at 11 if the Niners go defensive tackle. Let's just say they go defensive tackle. Now I'm looking at JTT, right? And so when I look at this kid, I'm like, all right, Like what is it about him that I love? Well, number one, his ability to set the edge, right? Like we talk about setting the edge as an edge rusher, want to be able to be defender against the run. Cool, that's number one, but that's not his main priority. He does that very well. I want to make sure I make myself clear. He does that very well. But man, this guy could get to the quarterback. And what I love about him, and I like this about both of the Ohio State defensive tackles, he is a menace. He's like a Tasmanian devil out there. Motor is great. Doesn't take plays off. Pass rushing rate is decent. He's really good against the run, in my opinion. And he's gritty. And so, like, man, like, give me those players. Like, I miss the Niners just having players just ready to put people face in the dirt, in the grass, and on the pellets. And he just plays like that. He plays like a madman out there. Not a lot. You don't have to worry about penalties. He's not that type of guy. But as far as being on a football field, like his thing is to get to the quarterback, like hands down. Like he finished the season. He had 15 sacks in 2024. 15 sacks in 2024. The thing is, like he shared it with Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer is a problem too. A lot of people not gonna talk about him. He's just like a great ass football player. Like there's some guys like Jack Sawyer is what Tyler Warren is on the offensive side. It's just a guy that could just do it all for the offense. Jack Sawyer is that. He can cover. He can play as an edge rusher. Like I said, you could drop him back in coverage. But JTT would be a dynamic force for the 49ers. If you guys are Ohio State fans watching this show, you know about JTT. You know what he can do. You know he can get to the quarterback. And that's what I like about him. All right. Cobra Jet, why is everyone okay with Abdul Carter's off-field problems and arrest, but nervous about Green's accusations and zero arrest? I can't tell you. It's like some players' stuff gets swept. You ever heard of the Warren seals? Some players' stuff gets put in an envelope and doesn't get touched. No one's talking about this. No one's talking about Abdul Carter's arrest. Now, I granted, it was older, but no one's talking about it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And he was charged with assault, all right? But no one's talking about it. I can't figure it out. Penn State football player Abdul Carter charged with assault. All right? Assaulting a tow truck driver. Okay, that's what happened back in March 16th, which is more recent than the allegations and accusations towards Mike Green. But again, this probably got swept under the rug. All right, probably got swept under the rug. He had a preliminary hearing scheduled for May 22nd. All right, and it seemed like he was just good. He was good to go. No, he was good to go. We go back to 2024. I don't know why no one's bringing that stuff up, though. I don't have the answer to that, but that's a great question, Cobra Jet 28, and I appreciate that. Appreciate that question for sure. All right. So let's talk about some of these guys. Okay, Jason got a question. Would you take UCLA linebacker Carson Schwezinger in round 2? So that's where it gets tricky. Because, yes, for me, I would take it. But are the Niners going to take a linebacker in round 2 if they still have bigger needs? That's why we did the show, Jason, last week about the biggest needs and the order of the needs, right? And most people say it's defensive line, offensive line. Me, I would say it's defensive line, but there's 2 positions on the defensive line. So do you address those 2 positions first and then look for the linebacker? And that's where it gets a little tricky. You know what I mean? That's where it gets a little tricky. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, I would take him. Why? Because you get a high motor guy. You get a guy that's very good in tackling. You look at Carson Schwezinger, but you're also getting do you call him inexperienced? When I say inexperienced, it's because he only did that once. Like, he only played at that elite level one time. All right. So when you go back to 2023, 2022, that it just wasn't there. Didn't play much. He walked on to UCLA, and I like these guys. Is that worth a second round pick though? Or do you try to see, like Jack said earlier in the chat, do you try to see if these guys fall just a little bit? Just a little bit. Now, his athleticism is through the roof. And again, we're talking, he only has a 7.6% missed tackle rate, which means he's a damn good tackler. Golly. But like I said, he did that in mainly last season. Last season, right? 11 missed tackles last season, 123, 1 in 2020, 3 in 2022. And so that's pretty good, you know? That's pretty good. But I for me, I like Carson Schwarzenegger. Are there other guys that the Niners can look to get as a linebacker? Now, the linebacker position is funny. I feel like linebacker is funny, but there's some guys I think they could get on day 3 that can come in. Remember, Drake Greenlaw was also a day 3 pick. I don't know if they're going to spend that high of a pick on a linebacker. You know what I mean? I just don't know. So good question though. I would though. You asked me would I take him? Hell yeah, for sure. I would. Peachy, what we got 2 4th round picks. I'm going day 3. So we'll talk about that on day 3. There's no way the 49ers with 4 picks are looking to take a running back. Especially since they drafted a running back last year. In round 4, I'm thinking day 3. So round 4, Peachy, is the answer to that question in my opinion. That's a funny one though, because Kyle Shanahan likes 3rd round running backs, but he hasn't drafted. We didn't draft one last year, so maybe I'm saying that to say maybe Kyle is changing. Maybe he's shifting a little bit with his theory on running backs. Maybe he talked to Bobby Turner and was like, "Listen, Bob, we're gonna get a guy. It's loaded. We're gonna get a guy." Like, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get a guy. Uncle Salty, I love the questions too, man. That's what I want these shows to be about when I say draft talk. It's not me just talking. I'm just giving you guys some scenarios. Uncle Salty, which running back would you take? It's Harvey. Harvey over Blue. Harvey doesn't have the fumble issues. Jaden Blue has the fumble issues. But they're both dynamic running backs, okay? Both dynamic running backs. But here's what I like about Harvey. And I'm going to, you know what? I tell you what. I'm going to show you what I love about Harvey. I don't do the film stuff here because me and YouTube, when I show film, I always get flagged. So I'm gonna I'll show you some data. All right. So this is what I love about RJ Harvey and his ability to be able to play, in my opinion, in a zone scheme as well as, you know, gap. So like he can run inside, he can run outside. It's basically what I'm saying. But here's what I love about RJ Harvey, right? And whenever I break down the running backs, there are a couple of numbers or a couple of statistical categories that I'm looking for that stand out for me. All right. Couple of them. And all right, you can look at yards, you can look at production. Yeah, that's great. You can look at touchdowns. I mean, I can tell you right now, he had 22 touchdowns, and he had the same amount of touchdowns as the kid from Tennessee, right? Dylan Sampson, right? He had the same amount of 22 touchdowns. But here's what I really love, right? If I focus on these numbers right here, right? So you see the yards after contact, 3.88. I love it. 3.88. Okay. I see you 49ers throwback. So that's great. So that means after every time when he's hit, he's averaging almost 4 more yards after the contact. So and I'll show you Jaden Blue too. 69 missed tackles forced is another number that I love. You know what I mean? So like those numbers to me really stand out for RJ Harvey. But look, again, Jaden Blue is somebody I believe that they met with, and you know, from Texas. Now, to me, he has the fumble issues. The yards after contact is there for sure. So he's about close to the yards after contract, but then it's those 37 missed tackles forced to the 66 missed tackles forced. Like I'm looking for a guy that's going to break tackles, and I miss Jordan Mason already. I think the best thing we love about Jordan Mason was his ability, and I apologize if you hear any noise in the background, was his ability to freaking make people miss. It was like, oh yeah, he's about to get hit. Nah, he's making people miss. So it's one of the things that I like about loved about Jordan Mason. So I think when going with a running back here, y'all, I think that's what we're gonna go. I don't have running backs going on day 2. I just don't. I don't. Now, 49ers throwback says don't jinx us. I said fourth round. It's two. Listen, the fourth round. If the Niners do their business and they go in this order, all right, they draft defensive line round 1, defensive line in round 2. So I'm going defensive tackle, I'm going edge, or I'm going edge, defensive tackle. That's it. Round 1, round 2. Pick 11, pick 43 needs to be those two positions, whichever order I'm cool with. Okay? So if we go Mike Green, I got to find that defensive tackle that might be available in round 2, and I'm hoping a Derek Harmon slips. If not, I'm going TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. So if Mike Green is my day 1 edge rusher, then my day 2 second round pick is TJ Sanders out of South Carolina, because he's one of those guys that does what I like. Mason Graham, Darius Alexander, Derek Harmon. TJ Sanders can do the inside. He can rush from the interior. He can also play, he's versatile, right? So he's good to get in the backfield, and he's just good. He's good against the run, good as a pass rusher. TJ Sanders, big dog too, out of South Carolina. So he would be, if I go Mike Green or James Pierce Jr., which nobody's talking about, and I'm not afraid to talk about James Pierce Jr. I don't give if that cat weigh 240 pounds. That cat could get you the quarterback, period. You want to talk about high motor out there on the edge? That's what he does. And he's good against the run, too. So if we go those two edges and kind of go the complementary piece to Nick Bosa, see, I'm looking for the faster edges. I'm thinking that's what the Niners look for. But I have this scenario. If they go Michael Williams, I'm cool with that. I'm cool if they go Michael Williams, because I know that he's a tower out there. I'm cool if they go with a Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, because he's a tower out there. So I understand now you got 2 towers on each edge, but they don't possess the speed to be able to get to the quarterback. They might be able to generate a lot of pressure. We already got Nick Bosa that generates a lot of pressure. I need a guy that can get home, baby. Give me some speed off the edge. So that's why I'm kind of like Mike Green, James Pierce Jr. But then in that round 2, if I'm going defensive tackle, it's got to be freaking TJ Sanders. Now, if Derek Harmon, if Kenneth Grant, if those guys fall to pick 43, I might pass on TJ Sanders. I might get one of them first-round graded guys. You know what I'm saying? It's the game. Like, again, hopefully players fall. In my opinion. 4th round for running back for me. We got 2 picks. That's why I said 4th round for a running back. Sorry. In 3rd rounds, it hasn't fared well. That's why I didn't say we were. I specifically said we are not drafting a running back in the 3rd round. I think 4th round or later. Maybe even in the 5th round. Maybe in the 5th round. It's possible. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. We shall see how the Niners kind of pan themselves out. Now, that's if they go edge. Now, if they go defensive tackle, if they get to Walter Nolan, the Derek Harmon, those top tiers. So edge, here's a guy nobody's talking about. What do you guys know about my man Landon Jackson from Arkansas? The big 6'6", 260-pound kid who's just literally, what do I love about him? Well, his athleticism, his ability to jump, he's just a freakish type of an athlete. He's not speed, but the wingspan, baby. You're talking 83 inches. That's like two of my wingspan. That's a long, and when I think about that, I'm looking at a guy that we drafted back in the day from Mizzou. Wingspan, long arms, ability to wrap, ability to tackle. He's good at setting the edge. No one's talking enough about Landon Jackson. And if you go back and watch his all-star performance at the Senior Bowl, he was wrecking shop. That cat had like 2 sacks in an all-star game. And against these top tackles that we want. So that's an edge rusher I want to throw out there. Landon Jackson, to me, just screams 49er. The motor is relentless. You want a guy, if you're going to go edge, that just doesn't get tired. This is football. If he's that dynamic, I don't ever want him off the field, ever. Don't come off the field. First super chat contribution of today's show from my man Silent. That's right, Silent. What's going on, Silent? They say Pierce is like Devondre Campbell, bad teammate. Yeah, like I'm hearing these stories about him from the coaches' stories came out. Guy Riley. Hey, look, I'm just talking about as far as a football player and what he's able to do on the football field. But if he's a bad character guy, for sure, stay away. All right, for sure, stay away. Definitely stay away. But I don't know. I don't know. I just think that, in my opinion, he's a solid edge rusher, and for some reason he showed up to every game, produced in every game. I don't know. Maybe he just got something. Maybe people just don't like him, but we'll see. He's going to go to a team. I could see him going to a team. Maybe the Falcons at 15, right? They need an edge rusher. He'll go to Atlanta and probably kill, literally. Like just go crazy. But we'll see what happens. Jason says, I've been screaming Landon Jackson at 42. Listen, so at the Senior Bowl, I'm like, yo, this kid is different. Like, the drills were different. He didn't come off the football field. They had to take him off the football field. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then I was like, let me see what he does in the game. He wasn't super great in the one-on-ones like some of the other guys, like the Mike Greens. We didn't see him like overpower because he doesn't play with that power. He's not the power guy off the edge. He's more of a tactician off the edge, right? Like he understands his moves. He uses his hands. His ability to get to the quarterback is kind of like uncanny, right? I was like, okay, him and David Walker were those undersung heroes from the edge position at the Senior Bowl. David Walker from Central Arkansas and Landon Jackson from Arkansas. So I'm thinking in round 2, if the Niners go tackle first, they got to go edge second. I don't care if Trey Amos is staring at me in the face, and I love me some Trey Amos from Ole Miss as a corner. I love Azariah Thomas from Florida. I love those guys. I just don't think that the Niners need to go corner in round 2 because you need to solidify the defensive line, and you could get a corner you can get a corner at pick 75, you get a corner at pick 100, but that second round pick is going to be crucial for the 49ers. So let's say my scenario, and this is my scenario. I'm going Walter Nolan, and I'm going off of the basis that these guys don't fall. I'm going Landon Jackson in round 2. Now, round 3 is the question mark. Because now round 3 is where the Niners, I feel like, are going to add an offensive lineman. And the question is, which offensive lineman is going to be available? And here's who I think that they should get. Now, I know they usually go with these guard combo, offensive lineman, cool, whatever, cool. I miss athleticism on the offensive line for the 49ers. I miss the guys that can get out and run. I miss that. I miss it a lot. Well, I think one of the things I dislike the most about Colton McKivitz and I disliked about Aaron Banks is they just weren't really good run blockers. You know what I mean? And you get Dominic Pooney in here, who wasn't really great at run blocking in Kansas and came in and was a phenomenal run blocker for the 49ers. I like offensive tackle Charles Grant out of William & Mary. And again, another small school, but this kid is athletic as heck. He's 300 pounds, but he's lean, right? So he's not like your super powerful 300-pounder like you see the big guys. No, but he plays really big. He plays really strong up front. He's not a project, but you draft him in the 3rd round. So this guy is for the future. Now, as far as his versatility, I didn't see him take snaps anywhere. He's a late bloomer. He played like tight end and then converted to a tackle later in college, in high school, and now he's the starting left tackle at William & Mary, entering the NFL draft. But what I like about him is his ability to get to the outside. And I know that I am not the only person that wants the 49ers to get back to the outside zone. I want the 49ers to run the outside zone so bad to where teams know that they're doing it and they can't stop it. And I miss that. And that, I can tell you right now, there's a 49er player that probably feels the same way, and his name is George Kittle. Shout out to George Kittle. He got the new tattoo ink. That kid, I remember in a presser, he said we're an outside zone team and we're not running outside zone. I was like, damn. I ain't never seen a player throw the coach under the bus like that and not get reprimanded for it. Matter of fact, they gave George Kittle more targets. Like that right there. And so when I look at Charles Grant, I'm like, all right, cool. Got Trent Williams. Trent Williams gets banged up a little bit, a lot. This kid could come in, play left tackle. That's his natural position. Maybe he can kick off to the right side. Maybe he becomes the new swing tackle. He has the athleticism to become a swing tackle. And we're talking third round. All right, we're talking third round. All right. So if we go offensive line in the third round, I'm going to ask you, my guy, Charles Grant, William and Mary at pick 75. And I know he's kind of like, you could get him in that 100 range. You know what I mean? 100 range, Charles Grant. I'm gonna give you a tackle and I'm gonna give you a guard. So I want you to know that I'm doing my homework. So Charles Grant, if we go tackle and if we go guard, give me Tate Ratledge. I told you I want athletic bigs up front. I feel like that was a basketball term, right? Athletic bigs. I want the athletic bigs up front. I want guys that can move and groove and set rhythm for the running backs to kick to the outside. You don't have to worry about that. You go Tate Ratledge, and I might go Tate Ratledge over Charles Grant. And I wouldn't be mad if the Niners doubled up on the offensive line with these 2 picks in round 3. I wouldn't be mad at all. Because now you got a guard for the future. He can fill in the left guard spot. And I would go there first. I'm going to be honest. Why? Because there's a gap at the left guard. There's nobody playing it. You're going to test out Spencer Burford, Ben Barch. They're going to battle for it. Nah, get me this Tate Ratledge. Get me a rookie in here. I want to see if he can beat out some of these guys, these veterans. That's what I like. And so Tate Ratledge, Charles Grant as a tackle. Ratledge can play that guard position. He can play on both sides. And you want to get mean? Like, you guys know, if you guys have watched the Jim Harbaugh era of the 49ers, you know what that offensive line was. You know the mentality of that offensive line. And now we're adding mean with athleticism. And that, to me, is what's wrong with the 49ers offensive line. It's Trent. That's it. And I'm, yeah, he's the best player, but hear what I'm saying. His mentality is different than everybody else's, but he also has the athleticism to do what others can't do. And so the standard, we're like, all right, well, Trent's way above standard, and then everything else is super below. And so it shows out. We'll draft some players that have the ability to move like Trent Williams. Like 3 cones are good, 10-yard splits are great. And these two guys, I think offensive line. And again, I wouldn't be mad if the Niners did that. Go tackle, go guard, tackle, and then close out round 3 and then get ready for round 4. You know what I mean? All right, let me look at some of these chats. Some of these questions in the chat. I see my man Michael. Shout out to Michael out there. It says Miles Frazier. Great pass blocking guard. Miles Frazier can protect that quarterback. My only issue with Miles is, can he move? And I'm going to go with yes. It's not terrible in run blocking. But we're talking about the scheme. Will Miles Frazier be a fit for the scheme of the outside zone? Love him as a player. Think he'll be fine. I just don't know if he'll fit the 49ers, all right? I just don't know if he'll fit the 49ers. David R. Logan Brown. Oh, this is one of my sleeping tackles. So this is if the Niners don't go offensive tackle in round 3, right? And so now we talk about a day 3 guy. All right, so I have him as a day 3 guy. I'll save that for a day 3 show. All right, I promise. DeMarcus, what's going on, bro? If Will Johnson falls, how far do you think it will be? So you're talking about my cornerback. All right. So those that are like keeping tabs on Will like I am, he's not running today, but he's doing all the other drills. So you'll get to see him, how fluid he is out there, but you won't get to see what his top speed is, which I think could be by design. I do. I think he wants to go to a certain team. I don't know, bro. Whatever he's doing out there. If he falls, now look, if Will Johnson falls, I'm gonna tell you this now, yo D. If he falls and he's at 43, you can scrap everything that I talked about on today's episode. You can scrap it. If Will Johnson is at 43 and you've already addressed the defensive interior or the edge, scrap it. Get Will Johnson. Get Will Johnson. So that's where I think. Where does he fall? I don't think he falls out of the first round, though. There's going to be a team late in the back end that's going to draft a cornerback. He can go to Pittsburgh. He can go to any one of those teams in the 20s. I still think he's going to be high off the board. Jahdae Barron might be the first corner. Well, Travis Hunter's going to be the first corner. Then you might get Jahdae Barron because of his versatility. If Will Johnson did do the 40, he would be the second corner off the board. But I think he stays in the first round. It's just my opinion. Matthew, what's going on? He's stopping by. Shout out to a member of the Breezy Bunch crew. Just wanted to show you some love, man. Appreciate it. Ken says, Wayne, I believe you must get Kelvin Banks Jr. or someone. Trent misses games every season. I'm just seeing your comment. Yeah, man. Look, I'm telling you, I love this dude. I said, I love Membu. I do, man. I do. He's fast. He's strong. He's big. He's a right guard. And you know what I love about Membu, before I talk a little bit about Kelvin Banks? He bet on himself. There's something about that. What do I mean? Well, his coaches were literally trying to coerce him to come back so that he could be the number one tackle in 2025. Well, next year draft. Number one. He told his coach, I already am. I'm like, yeah, that boy different. That kid different. So I like that from him. But if the Niners are going to go tackle in the first round, it just seems like Kelvin Banks makes the most sense over Campbell, over Membu. For the 49ers fit, it just seems like Banks makes the most sense. So I wouldn't be mad at all. He's great in run blocking. He's great. He's the best in both. I don't know why he's not the number one tackle, but he's the best in run blocking and pass pro. He is the Mason Graham of the offensive line. I don't get it. I don't get why they're just ranking him so low. And he played in Texas, and he played really good, so I don't get it. Now, he started the season off very strong and kind of started to decline as the season went on. Maybe he was dealing with injuries. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. Jalen Travis from Iowa State, right? Do I got it right? Explosive. Yeah, man. And so, look, again, these are some day 3 guys I think the Niners could be in on. So I'm going to give you one more pick that I think, let's just say we pick one of those guys. All right. Let's say we go Tate Ratledge in round 3 with pick 75. And I think at pick 100, the Niners are going to get a corner. They're going to get a corner. And I can't like the corners, the options, pick from these options. I'm going to let you guys pick from these options. Kobe Bryant from Kansas. I'll give you 2 guys. Or Jacob Parrish from Kansas State. I didn't give you the second guy yet, David. I didn't even give you the second guy. All right, so Kobe Bryant for Kansas. We talk about pick 100 for the Niners to close out day 2. It's going to be a cornerback. I think it's going to be a cornerback. Kobe Bryant or Parrish. All right, so I see Kobe Bryant in here. My boy 805 Blackbeard says Makuba. I think they go safety round 5. Round 5. We got 2 fifth-round picks. Parrish. Yeah, and here's what I'm saying. So Kobe and Parrish are 2 underrated dogs. Okay. And I think the Niners have a type. Now, I'm a little off because I don't know necessarily who Ray Brown's type is. I mean, we can go back and look at Wade Smith or Smith Wade or whatever his name is. He plays for the Carolina Panthers. Kind of look at him, see if that's a guy. Show Wade Smith, see if that's a guy. Cool. So I'm kind of like parent. But Jacob Parrish is one of my top 5 corners in this draft for the 49ers. And I think you can line him up outside, but I think he would translate as being a great nickelback as well. He has the size and the quickness and the skill set to play in the nickel. Doesn't mean he's bad or he's being demoted. I just think he's built already to play in the nickel, but he can also play outside. He's literally Diamador Lenore. Peanut says, Chapman loves Parrish. Listen, here's what I really love about Parrish. This dude is a phenomenal tackler. So, you know how we play off coverage a lot with the Niners, and then we got to come in and close out, wrap, and make the tackle? He doesn't miss. And I saw that at the Senior Bowl. Jack says, Wayne, the draft hats are so ugly. I brought it anyway, but dang. Yeah, I'm trying. You know. First of all, I didn't know it came with the brim, the bill bent or whatever, and it feel like it's leaning to the left and to the right, and it's a fitted hat, but it's kind of like, it feel like it's flexed. I don't know. I want to unbend this because if I'm gonna wear a fitted hat, I usually wear the bill straight, but I think it's meant to be bent. I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Whatever. They are ugly, but it is what it is. I got it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. DeMarcus question: who is our tight end coach? And isn't it Brian Flory? Brian Flory, I believe. If we draft Fannin Jr., can we trust that he will develop him? Yeah, because Fannin Jr. comes with skill sets. You get what I'm saying? Fannin Jr. comes with stuff that these other tight ends that we draft don't come with. He can catch. He can get open. He can run after the catch. You know? I don't even know if he developed George Kittle. George Kittle came in doing all the same things. George Kittle was faster. George Kittle had the ability to catch. You saw the gauntlet with the bloody nose. I mean, you look at Fannin Jr., he's a productive guy. He can produce. So looking at Fannin Jr., I don't know if there's much Brian Flory has to do to get him going. I just feel like you're drafting a player and all you got to do is plug and play. I don't think he needs much development. You know what I mean? So it's a great question. Guys, you've been a real great audience, man. Shout out to all the people that watched all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Rusty, I see you out there, man. Thanks for tuning in. All the faithful out there. Appreciate it. Listen, we'll be back this week. We got some BAM shows lined up, more draft shows lined up. Make sure you guys are following me on the Bleacher Report app because I'm going to be doing a lot of special shows over there that are exclusive to Bleacher Report, so you don't want to miss out. And for those that don't know, I will be covering the draft right here on the channel. I'll be going live an hour before the draft on Thursday, probably 30 to 45 minutes before on Friday. Day 2, I think, is the biggest day for the Niners. I know you got the most picks on day 3, but day 2 is the day that's going to shape the 49ers' future. Day 1 is in the books. We already know. They're going with a guy, right? But make sure you guys are locked in here for the draft shows. We're going to have some fun. Maybe do some giveaways. All right? So make sure you're locked in. All right? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Till the next time. Keep it faithful to the Bay. We out. What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.